Long ago, on the coast of West Africa, there rose a kingdom whose name would echo in both fear and fascination across continents. This was the Kingdom of Dahomey. To some, it was a land of wealth and power, guarded by legendary warriors who would one day be called Amazons. To others, it was a land haunted by blood, conquest, and the human misery of the slave trade. The world knew it as Dahomey, yet today if you search for that name on a map, it has vanished. In its place stands the Republic of Benin. Why did this change happen? What secret reason pushed a proud country to abandon the name of its ancestors and adopt a new one? The answer is hidden deep in history, in politics, in ethnic rivalries, and in the struggle for unity after independence. The story begins in the 17th century, when Dahomey rose as a fierce power in West Africa. The kingdom's rulers expanded their influence through war, trade, and conquest. They built a reputation as fearless and merciless, sending their soldiers, men and women alike, into battle with unmatched discipline. The female regiments, armed with blades and muskets, terrified enemies and amazed European observers, who later called them the Dahomey Amazons. Their kings lived in palaces adorned with symbols of victory, and their land grew rich from both regional trade and something far darker, the selling of captured people to European slave traders along the coast. For more than a century, the ports of Dahomey became central to the Atlantic slave trade. Ships would arrive from Portugal, France, Britain, and Spain, loading human lives from the Bight of Benin, that great curve of the Gulf of Guinea, and sailing them away to the Americas. This brutal history built Dahomey's wealth but also its infamy. When European colonizers moved deeper into Africa in the 19th century, France eventually conquered Dahomey after bloody wars with its kings. The land was absorbed into French West Africa, and the proud old kingdom became just another colony under foreign rule. Yet the name remained, Dahomey, preserved as a reminder of the old power, though now overshadowed by colonial control. In 1960, a new dawn arrived. The winds of independence swept across Africa, and the Republic of Dahomey was born. On August 1st of that year, the tricolor flag was raised, and the people celebrated the end of French rule. But the joy was short-lived. The name that had once brought pride now began to stir division. You see, Dahomey had never been home to just one people. The Fon, who had ruled the Old Kingdom, were only one group among many. The Yoruba lived in the southeast, the Bariba in the north, the Gbe people in other regions. To call the new nation, Dahomey, was to crown the history of one ethnic group above the others. The north resented it, the east resisted it, the country fractured, and soon political instability took hold. The 1960s and early 70s were years of chaos. Governments rose and fell, coups replaced elections, and no leader could unite the land. Old rivalries between ethnic groups resurfaced, each fearing domination by the others. It seemed the young republic might never escape its violent past. Then, in 1972, a man named Mathieu Kérékou seized power in a military coup. He was a young officer with a vision, and he promised to put an end to the endless fighting. Kérékou declared that the nation would follow a new path, Marxism-Leninism, unity, and discipline under his command. But he knew that the very name of the country was a barrier to this unity. Dahomey could not be the future if it was chained to one people's past. So in 1975, a bold decision was announced. The Republic of Dahomey would no longer exist. From that day forward, the nation would be called the People's Republic of Benin. The world was stunned. A name that had lasted for centuries was cast aside. But why Benin? Why not something entirely new? The answer lies on the coast. The Bight of Benin was a name already known across the world. Sailors, traders, and historians alike recognized it as part of West Africa's geography. Most importantly, it was neutral. It did not belong to the Fon, nor to the Yoruba, nor to the Bariba. It belonged to everyone, and to no one. By choosing Benin, Kérékou gave the country a name that no single ethnic group could claim as their own, and thus a chance at unity. The choice carried another layer of meaning. Across the border in Nigeria, centuries earlier, there had been the Kingdom of Benin, a mighty state known for its bronze artistry, its wealth, and its legacy of resistance against colonial powers. By borrowing the name Benin, the new republic tied itself to the broader memory of African greatness, but without being confined to any one ethnic identity within its own borders. It was a rebirth, a symbolic cleansing of the old divisions. The renaming was not just about maps and documents. It was about identity. Dahomey was tied to the slave trade, to war, to the domination of one group over others. Benin was tied to the ocean, to shared history, to a future where all people of the land could call the nation their own. In one stroke, Kérékou buried the past and planted the seed of a new beginning. The flag changed, the constitution changed, and the people had to embrace a new name for their homeland. Yet the story did not end there. For 15 years, the People's Republic of Benin remained under a Marxist-Leninist regime, struggling through economic hardship and political repression. In 1990, the ideology collapsed, and the country embraced democracy once again. But one thing remained. The name Benin endured. The people had accepted it, and no one sought to return to Dahomey. The name had become part of the national identity, stronger than the divisions of the past. Today, when we hear the name Benin, we think of a small but proud country in West Africa, home to vibrant cultures, music, art, and history. Few remember that once, the same land was called Dahomey, and fewer still know the reason for the change. But the secret is clear. The shift from Dahomey to Benin was not just a political trick. It was a transformation of identity, a move to unite tribes under one banner, a way to distance the present from the bloody shadows of the past. It was a nation choosing to define itself not by the chains of history, but by the hope of unity. So when the world calls it Benin, it is not just a name. It is the story of a people who decided that the scars of Dahomey should not define their future. It is the story of how a new name gave birth to a new nation. And it is a reminder that sometimes, to move forward, a people must first let go of the past.